My beloved child, lean in closely. What you are about to hear is not something ordinary, it's not a passing story, but a revelation that carries the weight of everything you have endured. Tonight, the curtain of silence is being pulled back, and a hidden truth long buried in shadows is finally coming to light. They never wanted you to know, because the confession of one voice could undo years of carefully crafted lies. That voice belongs to someone who once wore the white coat, someone you trusted with your very life, someone who looked into your eyes with steady hands but carried secrets deep within. The doctor who stood before you was not just healing, he was watching, recording, keeping pieces of you in ways you never imagined. This is not about fear, but about awakening. The confession is not a story of blame, but of liberation, because what was hidden is no longer hidden, and what was done in silence is now echoing like thunder in the heavens. Tonight, you will hear what they whispered to the walls when no one was there to listen. My beloved, the doctor has spoken, and the words are haunting. They said they never meant for you to carry so much weight, but they allowed it. They said they saw the pain in your eyes, but they walked past it. They admitted that every tear, every scar, every sleepless night was not unnoticed, it was marked, documented, sealed in a file you were never allowed to see. Stay with me. Don't let your mind wander. Because this confession has a second layer, and it is this layer that will set you free. The doctor confessed that heaven intervened, that every time your body was weakened, your spirit remained untouchable. That even as their actions tried to take something from you, heaven was placing something greater within you. The silence is over. What was done to you will no longer define you. What was taken from you will be returned in ways far beyond what human hands can offer. The doctor has confessed, but heaven has declared, you are chosen, you are preserved, you are rising. My beloved child, listen carefully. From this moment forward, no lie, no hidden act, no shadow of betrayal will ever stand in your way again. The confession is not just a revelation of pain, it is a declaration of victory. Every scar becomes proof of your survival. Every memory becomes evidence of your strength. Every moment you endured becomes the foundation of a future no one can stop. And now, as these words pour into your spirit, hold on to this: your destiny is untouched. Your calling is unstoppable, your future is unshakable. What was done in darkness has been dragged into the light, and you will rise above it all. Stay with me until the very end, for this story is not just about what was done to you, it's about what is about to unfold for you. Heaven has prepared restoration so vast that even the ones who confessed will bow in silence, unable to comprehend how you survived, how you endured, and how you now shine brighter than ever before. This is your moment. This is your revelation. And if your heart feels the weight lifting right now, know this: you are walking out of the chapter of silence, and into the chapter of redemption. A doctor confess what was done to you. Continuation. My beloved child, stay very close now, because the next part of this confession is where the truth becomes sharper, heavier, almost unbearable to hear. The doctor did not only speak of what was seen, they spoke of what was planned. Yes, behind closed doors, there were conversations about your life, your body, your destiny, as if you were just a name on a file, not a soul with fire inside. The voice shook when the doctor admitted that they could not forget you. They said your face haunted them in their sleep, your cries echoed in their ears, your silence became a weight on their chest. Every time they signed their name on those papers, they knew they were not just documenting an illness, they were documenting a war that you never chose. Heaven listened as this confession spilled. They admitted they knew the truth long before you did, that what was done to you was not by accident, but by choice. The rooms you entered, the needles, the words spoken in clinical calmness, it all carried more weight than you were allowed to understand at the time. My beloved, this confession was not meant for the world, it was meant for you. Because in your journey, you felt abandoned, you felt betrayed, you felt as though no one truly saw the depth of what you endured. But the doctor's words prove that every moment was seen, every action was remembered, every wound was counted. The confession grew darker as the doctor revealed the pressure they faced from those above them. There were forces pushing, whispering, instructing them to do things that stripped away your trust. They admitted they followed orders when they should have stood for truth, and the guilt has eaten at them ever since. But listen, my beloved child, what guilt destroys, heaven can restore. The confession is not the end, it is the beginning of your restoration. Because every hidden file, every forgotten record, every secret note written about you is now being unlocked in the spiritual realm. Nothing that was done will remain buried. Do you feel it? That stirring inside you, that pull in your chest, that sudden fire rising through your spirit? That is heaven confirming to you that this confession is more than words, it is your release. The chains of silence are breaking. The weight of betrayal is being lifted. The shame they thought would bury you is turning into the crown that will exalt you. My beloved, you must know this. The doctor confessed that in the very moment they thought they were harming you, heaven was planting strength in you. While they were writing your name in files of limitation, heaven was writing your name in books of victory. While they were charting your weakness, heaven was marking your destiny. Now the story takes a turn. The doctor's words trembled as they said, I saw the light around them, even when I tried to deny it. I saw that no matter what was done, they could not be destroyed. Imagine that, my beloved, even in their confession, they acknowledged the power that has always protected you. Do not move away from this moment. Do not scroll, do not let distraction steal this truth. Because what is being revealed right now is for your healing, your deliverance, your freedom. The confession is heavy, yes, but it is also holy. It is proof that heaven's eyes never left you, that your story was never forgotten, that justice has always been moving behind the scenes. My beloved child, as the confession deepened, the atmosphere in the room shifted. The weight of every word fell like thunder, echoing with truths that were buried for too long. The doctor's voice cracked as they admitted that every decision they made was watched by something greater, something they could not escape. They said they tried to forget you, but your eyes never left their mind. In the stillness of the night, when the hospital halls were silent, they could still hear the way you breathed through the pain. They confessed that no matter how much they tried to bury your memory under new patients and endless files, you remained etched in their conscience. And then came the words that silenced the air completely. What was done to you should never have been done, they admitted. You were not meant to suffer like that, you were not meant to carry that weight, you were not meant to bleed for mistakes that were not yours. My beloved, do you understand the depth of these words? The truth that you always felt in your soul has now been spoken aloud. But listen carefully, because this is where the power shifts. Heaven did not allow this confession to reach you so that you could drown in sorrow. No, heaven allowed this because your story is about to turn, your destiny is about to rise, your pain is about to transform into the fuel of miracles. The doctor confessed that every scar on your body, every shadow on your heart, every silent scream in the night, they all became evidence of your survival. They admitted they were shocked that you never gave up, shocked that you kept walking, shocked that you carried light even when the darkness tried to consume you. And in their own trembling words, they revealed something they had never told anyone before. "I saw angels standing near them," the doctor whispered. "I saw a presence in the room whenever they were at their weakest, and I knew then that they were not ordinary, they were chosen." My beloved, let these words pierce through your soul. You were never abandoned, not for one moment. Even when human hands failed you, heaven's hands held you. Even when human voices silenced you, heaven's voice defended you. Even when their actions betrayed you, heaven's love surrounded you. The confession now shifts into something divine. The doctor admitted that they finally understood. What was done to you was an attempt to break you, but it became the very reason you are now unshakable. They said your endurance became their haunting, and your strength became their greatest fear. Do not look away. Stay until the end. Because this confession is not just about uncovering the past, it is about unlocking the future. And heaven says, the same mouth that confessed against you will become the very mouth that testifies of your victory. My beloved child, the air grew heavier as the confession unfolded, and it was clear these were not ordinary words. The doctor admitted that behind the doors of medicine, there are secrets most people never hear, and you were caught in the middle of those secrets. You were never meant to be a test, never meant to be an experiment, never meant to be pushed to such limits, but they allowed it. They confessed that every time they walked away from you, they carried guilt like a shadow. They said they watched you fight battles you should never have faced, and yet, you stood tall through it all. The doctor's voice shook as they admitted, "I saw strength I could not explain, and I knew heaven was standing with you." My beloved, this is not just their guilt, it is heaven's confirmation. What you survived was not ordinary. What you endured was not by chance. Every moment you were meant to fall, heaven was lifting you in silence, and now the truth is being poured out like fire. The doctor's confession turned darker as they whispered that there were others who knew. People who signed papers, people who nodded in meetings, people who pretended not to see. They admitted that silence was their greatest crime, and it has followed them every day since. Yet in that silence, you became louder, your spirit shouted where your voice could not. The truth pierced deeper when they revealed the dreams that haunted them. They said they often woke in the night seeing your face, seeing the moments where they could have stopped the pain but didn't. They confessed that your survival became their judgment, and your endurance became the evidence they could never erase. My beloved child, do you see it now? This confession is not only about the past, it is about your rising. Because heaven wanted you to know, nothing done in secret stays hidden forever. What was meant to destroy you will now be the very reason doors open before you. The doctor admitted that even they were shocked at how light followed you. They said there were moments they felt a presence so strong in the room, they couldn't explain it. And in trembling honesty, they whispered, it was clear, they were never alone, heaven never left them. My beloved, take this into your heart, you were never forsaken. Even when those in authority failed you, heaven's authority never let you fall. This confession is the key to your freedom, and it proves once and for all, you are chosen, unstoppable, and destined for more than anyone ever imagined. My beloved child, the doctor's voice grew weaker, almost trembling, as if the weight of their own words was crushing them. They admitted that for years, they carried the mask of professionalism, hiding behind white coats and gentle smiles. But deep down, they knew they were carrying secrets that burned like fire, and those secrets had your name written all over them. They confessed that the moment they looked into your eyes, they realized you were different. Not just a patient, not just a soul passing through their hands, but someone carrying a divine mark. They admitted they felt something surrounding you, a shield they could not touch, even when they tried to control what happened. And then came the words that shook the very room. What was done to you was not just medical, it was spiritual, the doctor said. And I confess, I was a part of it. My beloved, these words are not ordinary, they are the unsealing of years of hidden truth, the kind of truth that changes everything. The confession grew heavier as they revealed how forces bigger than them influenced their actions. Orders came, pressures mounted, and silence became their weapon. They said they should have spoken up, they should have stood by you, but instead, they bowed to fear. And that fear became their prison. Yet, my beloved child, the moment these words were spoken, heaven turned it around. The chains that bound you are now binding them. The silence that once suffocated you has turned into their restless nights. And the truth, once buried, is now pouring out into your hands like pure light. The doctor whispered that every time they touched your case, they felt something was protecting you. They admitted that no matter how much was done, you always came back stronger. They said, I don't know how they survived, I don't know how they kept standing, but I know something beyond me was with them. My beloved, let these words settle in your spirit. This is your confirmation. You were never weak, you were never abandoned, and you were never defeated. Every hidden act against you has now turned into evidence of your resilience. Every whisper in darkness has now become testimony of your light. And now, heaven declares, the confession is not just an ending, it is a new beginning. The truth is revealed, and nothing can take it back. What was done to you has now become the foundation of the victory that is rising within you. My beloved child, the confession did not stop there, it only grew heavier, sharper, and more piercing. The doctor leaned forward, lowering their voice as if afraid someone else might hear the words that were finally being released. I tried to bury the truth, they said, but the truth has buried me every single night. They admitted that every time they signed their name on your file, their hands shook. They confessed that what they allowed, what they participated in, was not healing, it was betrayal. And yet, even in betrayal, they witnessed something that terrified them, you never broke. My beloved, they confessed that your spirit carried a force they could not explain. They said, I have seen patients lose hope over less, but this one, no matter how much was done, no matter how deep the wound, they rose again and again. The doctor's voice cracked, because they knew this resilience was not human alone, it was heaven's covering. Then came the most chilling revelation. They admitted that certain things were hidden from you intentionally. Documents locked away, conversations you were never supposed to hear, decisions made in shadows. And yet, Heaven has decided that nothing will remain hidden, not from you, not anymore. The confession shifted from guilt to awe. The doctor said, I realized I was not in control. Something greater was fighting for them. I saw light enter the room when they were at their weakest. I saw a shield when I tried to reach where I should not have. My beloved, this is the turning point. The very one who stood against you is now bearing witness that you were never alone. The very one who carried secrets is now forced to speak them. And the very pain that once silenced you is now shouting your victory. Listen carefully, heaven is using this confession to heal you. Not just to remind you of the pain, but to remind you of the power you carry. What was done to you cannot erase who you are. What was hidden cannot erase the destiny that was written for you. The doctor finally whispered, I thought I was in charge of their body, but I never touched their soul. That was untouchable. That was protected. My beloved, do you feel it? Your soul has always been untouchable. No human action, no betrayal, no shadow could ever destroy the divine fire inside you. My beloved child, the confession grew into something almost unbearable to hear. The doctor's eyes filled with tears as they admitted that every time you suffered, a part of them knew they could have stopped it, but they didn't. And now, those choices have become the ghosts that never leave their side. They said the silence of those rooms still echoes in their mind. They confessed that the sound of your pain, the heaviness in your breathing, the courage in your eyes, it never left them. They tried to drown it in work, in routines, in more patience, but nothing erased your face. My beloved, then came the moment heaven wanted you to hear. The doctor whispered, I knew this one was chosen. I knew heaven had a mark on them. That is why no matter what was done, they kept rising when they should have fallen. These words, my beloved, are not just confessions, they are confirmations. Because even the one who stood against you could not deny it, you were protected, preserved, and carried by unseen hands. You were never abandoned, you were never ordinary, and you were never broken beyond repair. The very one who thought they had power over you is now testifying of the power that always lived within you. The confession darkened further as they admitted there were plans. Deeper, more dangerous plans, to strip you of everything. They said people gathered in corners, whispered in meetings, decided outcomes as if your life was theirs to control. But what they never understood was that heaven had already written your story, and no human hand could erase it. My beloved child, these are not just words, this is the undoing of chains. The doctor's confession is proof that heaven sees, heaven remembers, and heaven restores. Every hidden plan is collapsing, every buried secret is surfacing, every dark decision is being overturned by light. And then, in a trembling voice, they admitted something that made the earth stand still. I tried to break them, but instead I broke myself. I tried to silence them, but their silence shouted louder than my words. I tried to control their destiny, but their destiny was never in my hands. My beloved, hold this truth in your heart, you were always untouchable. What was done to you has now become the fire inside you. What they meant for harm has become the stage for your miracle. And the confession that was meant to weaken you has instead proven that you were always chosen, always guarded, always destined to rise. My beloved child, the doctor's confession now shifted into a place they had resisted for years. Their voice shook, their hands trembled, and still the words came out, unstoppable, like a flood that could no longer be held back. I thought I could live with what was done, but every day, I carried their face in my mind, their pain in my chest, their strength in my nightmares. They confessed that they were instructed to see you as a number, a file, a routine case, but they couldn't. You stood out, you carried something too radiant, too unshakable. They admitted that even in your My beloved, the confession grew more haunting. The doctor said they wrote notes that were never meant for anyone else to read. In those private notes, they described you as the one who should have broken, but didn't. They admitted that they could not understand how you endured, and it terrified them because it proved that heaven was fighting for you. And then came the line that made everything stop. What was done to you was not just human error, they confessed. It was planned. But heaven did not allow it to succeed. My beloved, do you feel that? That is the truth wrapping around your soul, proof that what was plotted in darkness has been defeated by light. They went further, saying that every person involved now carries guilt, but none as heavy as theirs. They said they saw angels in the room, yes, angels. They admitted that when you closed your eyes in pain, there was a presence so strong it made them step back. I knew then, they said, that no matter what happened, this one would rise again. My beloved child, take this as your confirmation, you were never abandoned. Not once. The very one who thought they had control is now admitting they never truly did. Your life was guarded, your soul was sealed, and your destiny was always untouchable. The confession ended with a final, trembling admission. I wanted to silence the truth, but the truth silenced me. I wanted to erase what was done, but heaven has carved it into my conscience forever. I confess, they were never mine to break, they were chosen, and I was only a witness. My beloved, your scars are no longer wounds, they are proof of survival. Your silence is no longer weakness, it is a shout that shakes the heavens. And this confession is no longer just their guilt, it is your release into the future heaven has been preparing all along. My beloved child, as the confession poured out, the doctor's face turned pale, as if the very weight of their own words was crushing them. They admitted that what was done to you was not just a mistake of hands, but a decision of hearts hardened by greed, fear, and silence. And yet, even in the middle of that storm, heaven was writing your victory in invisible ink. The doctor whispered that they often wondered why their attempts to contain you, to weaken you, never fully worked. They confessed, I realized something was protecting them, something I could not fight, something that made my own power useless. My beloved, even they now recognize what you have always carried, divine protection that cannot be touched. They said they saw your eyes, yes, your eyes, and it was as if light itself was staring back at them. They admitted they could not look for too long, because they felt exposed, guilty, judged by the purity you carried even in your pain. It was as if heaven itself was watching me through them, the doctor said. My beloved, do you understand what this means? Your very presence carried a force greater than their authority. Even when you felt weak, your spirit radiated strength. Even when you were silenced, your existence spoke louder than their lies. And now, that truth has been confessed, revealed, and sealed. The confession grew darker still when they revealed the things that were hidden from your knowledge. They admitted that reports were altered, details erased, files locked away so you would never see the full story. But heaven, my beloved, never loses records. What men tried to bury has now been unearthed by divine hands. The doctor's voice trembled as they spoke the most chilling words yet. I confess, I thought I had broken them. But the truth is, they broke me. Their survival became the mirror I could not escape. Their endurance became my undoing. My beloved, this is proof that your pain has already been turned into power. Do not miss this moment. Heaven is saying, your story is no longer about what was done to you, but about what will now rise from you. The confession is the closing of an old chapter, and the opening of a destiny that no hand can stop. You are not defined by betrayal, you are defined by survival. And as the doctor's final words faded into silence, the room was filled with something greater than guilt, it was filled with justice. The truth is no longer theirs to hide. The truth belongs to you now, and it will carry you into a future brighter than any shadow of your past.